Hey, how's it going everyone? I hope that you're all having an amazing day. This video is an exciting one because we are going to be going over the newly released patch notes for the launch version of Valorant. This is exciting for me because I have very little experience when it comes to games like Valorant. I have never played CSGO, but I do love first-person shooters and I am excited for Valorant to finally be launching to the public. I haven't paid much attention to any of the beta or really looked into any of the classes because I wanted this all to be a fresh experience for me. But since the launch notes are out, I figured I would dive into them. So do me a favor, and if this video helps you out at all, then help me out by hitting the like button on it. So there is a ton of information on this patch notes, which is amazing because they're at least communicating all of the changes, even the little ones, with the community, which is always something to love. But I am not going to read over all of these in detail. I will instead put a link in my description if you guys want to read over in detail and see why they made some of the changes, then you can go ahead and do that. But basically what I am going to do is just read over all of the changes that were made. So let's get right into it, starting off with them announcing that Reyna is the latest agent to join Valorant, as well as a new map coming out named Ascent. They are also releasing a new mode called Spike Rush to deliver a fresh and more hectic flavor of Valorant. This is already great news right off the bat because you can tell that this game is going to be pumping out the content. But let's move on and also point out the fact that there were also some improvements to the hit registration and a rework of Split's mid choke point. Hopefully you guys understand exactly what that means by a rework of Split's mid choke point, because I don't understand quite yet. I'm guessing they just opened up some sort of point that was blocking people up. But let's move on and start talking about the agents updates, starting off with Sage. Sage's healing orb cooldown was increased from 35 seconds to 45 seconds. Her barrier orb segment health was reduced from 1000 to 800. Her barrier orb duration was reduced from 40 seconds to 30 seconds. Her friendly barrier orb walls now show on the minimap. Moving on to the agent Raze, his blast pack maximum damage radius was reduced from 2 meters to 1 meter. That's all for Raze. So moving on to the agent Jet, her cloud burst smoke duration was increased from 4 seconds to 7 seconds, and her tailwind automatically breaks Cypher's trapwires after being briefly revealed. Moving on to the agent Phoenix. So Phoenix's blaze duration was increased from 6 to 8 seconds. The blaze damage was 15 every 0.25 seconds and is now 1 every 0.033 seconds. And blaze healing was 3 every 0.25 seconds and is now 1 every 0.16 seconds. Blaze's hot hands ability, the healing was 3 every 0.25 seconds and is now 1 every 0.8 seconds. His curveball ability, max flash duration has increased from 0.8 seconds to 1.1 seconds, and his run it back automatically reloads all weapons on respawn. Moving on to the agent Omen, his paranoia ability is now equipped instead of quick cast, and hit detection was improved, especially at close range. For his dark cover ability, Omen now enters a phaser world where he can see through walls, places smokes, and pressing reload toggles between phased and normal targeting. His dark cover controls have been updated where Omen can now increase smoke distance with primary fire and decrease it with secondary fire, and throw the smoke with the ability key. His Shrouded Step ability, Omen can now see his teleport location on the map and receives an in-world indicator of where he's targeting when his vision of the point is obstructed. His From the Shadow ability, Omen can now cancel his teleport while in shade form by pressing the ability key again. Omen still loses all of his ultimate points if he cancels. So that was quickly all of the agents changes. Again, I'm not 100% sure exactly what's going on there, but I am excited to jump in and test all of these guys out for sure. But moving on into some sound visualization and some audio attenuation. They say that they have brought in more sounds made by agents under the category of sounds that display their audio distance on the minimap via the white circle. This includes the ability sounds, reloads, and spike interactions, and a few more. Talking about the new map Ascent, they say that Ascent is a new map set in Italy that features a large, open middle area that both teams can skirmish over. Mid is a playground for diverse ability use, and successfully controlling the area opens up additional routes for attackers to both spike sites. And they also say that as the new map for launch, Ascent will be slightly more common in the matchmaking rotation for the first few days so that everybody can get more opportunities to play on the map. They also go on to say that competitive mode will not be out on launch, and they have also released a ton of performance updates and a ton of quality of life updates, but I'm not going to read over the performance updates. Instead, I'm just going to read over the quality of life updates and really leave it at that, because other than the quality of life, really all I'm seeing is a ton of bug fixes, which is always good. But unless you're interested to see which bugs were fixed, then you can go ahead and click the link down in the description, like I said. But let's go ahead and quickly read out all of the quality of life changes that they made, because sometimes quality of life changes can be really interesting and niche, to say the least. But the first one is dying to a non-enemy player will no longer grant ultimate points. This includes dying to spike, fall damage, a teammate's ability, or your own ability. They added Valorant community code pop-ups for new players. They added a chat and voice restrictions for repeat offenders of their community code. Reporting categories have been updated to cover a wider range of community code violations. And transition screens have been added before character select and in-game. The button to upgrade a gun skin now indicates what type of improvement, variant, animation, etc. will be granted by the upgrade. Visual updates to collection and contract pages. They adjusted ping calculation to be more accurate. They added a setting to disable the spectator count widget on the HUD. They updated the death camera to avoid obscuring the screen immediately after death. They added a build version watermark. Also some observer updates. They added team-specific first-person highlights for observers. They adjusted consistent coloring for attackers or defenders on the HUD. Attackers and defenders don't swap in the HUD on side swap rounds, and keybinds are consistent from round to round for swapping between players. They also fixed scoreboard not showing the correct score and removed the freeze time that would trigger when waiting for a player to reconnect at the start of the buy phase. They also updated some of the shop icons. So like I said, these patch notes are huge, but we essentially covered the gist of them. We definitely covered most of them. I'm going to leave it at that though, because this video is already pushing over 10 minutes long. But I hope you all have an amazing day. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you want to follow my Valorant gameplay from here on out. But other than that, I hope you all have an amazing day. I'm out.